All right, well, good evening and welcome to the 2015 Candidate Forum for the candidates for the Tega City Council. Before we get started, we'd like to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Well, good evening. I'm Lucas McFadden, anchor and producer for CN2 News, and I'm the moderator tonight, so thank you so much for inviting me to take part in such a great evening where we will learn more about the candidates running for Tega City Council. I also want to say thank you very much to the Tega Council and the York County Regional Chamber who have put on this event for the last couple of years. They are very active, I know, throughout the York County area, and so very excited to be part of this, so thank you again so much. The Chamber's Tega Area Council is commissioned to represent the area's interests of the business community in and around Tega. Several members of that area council are present this evening, and we'd like for you to raise your hand and be recognized as a group. All right. That was always a good showing. I had the pleasure of serving in this capacity as moderator a couple years ago here when we had a debate. And one thing I always love about Tega, you see it through the signs and from the folks running for city council, you all are politically engaged. You love elections. You care about your community. And we cover so many stories where the turnout for elections sometimes is sad. So I applaud you guys. Personally, thank you so much for taking an interest in your community, learning about the candidates. Candidates, thank you so much for running. I know it's not easy sometimes with time, money, and other things, so thank you so much on behalf of Tega for just doing what you can to make our cities even better than they are right now. As you know, Tega is governed by a mayor and a city council who are elected by the people of the city. All the positions are elected as at-large seats and with 4-year staggered terms. 2 of those seats are up for election. Now there are 6 candidates vying for those seats. The top 2 vote getters in November will be elected to the City Council. It's the responsibility of the City Council to guide the city to meet the strategic vision of the city. This is why we are here this evening to hear from the candidates seeking to serve and govern the city in the capacity. Before we begin, I'd like to recognize Tega Mayor George Shepard and any other Tega elected officials who are here tonight, so please stand. Jennifer's here. Thank you guys so much. Council members Ron Kirby and Chris Van Wyck Larson, sorry Chris, are incumbents seeking re-election and will be participating in the forum tonight. Would also like to recognize any York County Council members or any other elected officials who are with us this evening as well. Just raise your hand. Michael Johnson is here. And for those who are not in attendance or watching us live on Caporium Channel 115, where we are, again, are broadcasting live, so say hello to everyone out there in the real world watching from home. We have 2 panelists this evening who will present questions to our candidates. First, we have Michael Harrison, editor for the Fort Mill Times. Michael, thank you so much for being here. As well as Patty Mercer, WRHI and host of Close Up, Fort Mill and Tega. All right, so let's introduce the Tega City Council candidates for the November 3rd election. We'll begin with Abigail Duvall. We'll also then have Lisa Johnson. We have Ron Kirby. We have Chris Van Wyck Larson.
Just Chris Larson.
Chris Larson. All right, yeah. Perfect. Okay, just Chris Larson. All right, we have David O'Neill and Ryan Richard.
Got it.
All right. All right, so let's talk a little bit about how this will go. As moderator, I will just basically make sure that we keep the plane moving to our destination. I know we all want to get home on time and safely, so I'm going to make sure we get there safely. The order of the candidates' responses, beginning with the opening statements, that was determined alphabetically through the listings through the York County Election Office. Following the open statement, which is just a minute, all candidates will have 1 minute to answer each question asked by the panelists. Candidates will be notified with the yellowed car, right there, Allison has it, when you have 15 seconds remaining for each response. And then when you see the red card, it basically means time has expired. Now, I'll let you finish your sentence at that point. You don't have to stop in mid-sentence. We want to land the plane safely. We don't want it to fall from the sky. But just don't start a second thought. If that's the case, then I'll have to jump in, and I went to the gym this morning. So I'm exercising, ready to go. Questions were submitted, just so you know, by the public and have remained secure and unseen by the candidates prior to tonight. In delivering the opening and closing statements and answering questions, candidates just remember to stay focused on the issues rather than opponents. Remember, you only have about a minute to get through each one. And out of respect and for sake of time, audience members, try not to show any signs of approval or disapproval based on the responses. No clapping, booing, yelling. Just again, this is live, so we want folks at home to make sure we hear every answer as best that we can. All right, so let's get to it. This is the big thing. All right, we're going to start first with the opening statements, and we will actually start with Abigail first. We'll go down the line. Then when we start with questions, we'll start with Lisa Johnson, go down the line, and so on. So I'll direct all that, so you guys don't have to worry about anything but answering the questions. All right, so let's begin with our opening statements. We'll begin with Abigail.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Let me adjust this. And thank each of you for taking the time out of your evenings to be with us tonight. I am Abigail Duvall. I am originally from Charleston, South Carolina. I came up to Winthrop University for my undergraduate and graduate degree, fell in love with the area and stayed to call it home. I have been active in our community now for over 6 years, and I currently serve on the Tega Board of Zoning Appeals. I have a very strong business background. I had the opportunity to serve as COO for a large technology organization with Bank of America. It was through that position that I became an expert in advocacy for our associates. And it's that same sense of advocacy that I now look to bring to City Council. Thank you.
All right, Lisa.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Lisa Marie Johnson, and I am running for Tega City Council. When I thought about my career path and my goals, I thought long and hard and made deliberate decisions and acted on them, which is why I am a lawyer. I am an adjunct college professor. I am a business owner. I am a mom. I am a Tega resident, and I am a city council candidate. When I consider my civic duty and my community activism, I also made deliberate decisions and acted on them, which is why I volunteered with the homeless for over 6 years. I have become a volunteer coach with Tega Little League cheerleading team for 3 years. I am the chairman of the Board of Zoning Appeals, and why I stand before you as a candidate. As a city council member, I want to make effective and efficient decisions for our city, which is why I feel I deserve your support and your vote. Thank you.
All right, Ron.
Thank you, Lucas. Good evening. Hi, I'm Ron Kirby. Up front, let me say that public speaking is not my forte, but it comes with the territory. First of all, I'd like to thank York County and Lucas for being here tonight and allowing this opportunity, the Chamber of Commerce for hosting the forum, and all of you that are in attendance tonight and watching on TV. As a resident of Tega for 20-plus years, I have served on the City Council for over 8 years and have been involved in numerous civic organizations and committees throughout the years long. Simply, I have a passion for the betterment of Tega and its citizens. There isn't a candidate up here that has more experience or better understanding of our government than I do. Every decision that I have made and every vote that I have taken, I have cast it with the intent of the best interest of all concerned for the long-term prosperity of the city of Tega. We are prospering, and we need to continue to prosper with the current council.
All right, thank you very much. All right, Chris.
Good evening. My name is Chris Larson. I've lived here for 20 years. I've raised my 2 boys with my wife, Kate. They are out of college now, and I still have a strong compassion for the city to create the lifestyle that we were able to raise our boys in while they were here. I can't say that anybody here probably isn't nervous. I am. I had to check to make sure I had my socks, my notes. I do have my head here right now, and I think we all should just relax because we got a lot of questions ahead of us, and we're going to have to answer them the best we know how. But I just want you all to know that I am proud of the city, that I have made improvements to, and the progress of the city. And I think that is a direct result of the work and efforts that I and the current council have put into place. I want to continue to work hard for the city to guarantee the quality of life that this city has to offer for all our residents.
Thank you very much. All right, David.
Thank you. My name is David O'Neill, and I've been a resident of Tega for 15 years. I'm a retired paratrooper from the U.S. Army, having served 20 years and 20 minutes before retiring in the rank of Lieutenant Colonel. My wife Linda and I raised 2 kids here that went through all 12 grades in the Fort Mill School District, from first grade at Tega K, or from Gold Hill Elementary all the way graduation through Fort Mill High School. I currently serve as the Vice Commander of the Tega K Veterans Association, and I was recently appointed to the Medical Examiners Board for the state of South Carolina by Governor Nikki Haley. I'm a graduate of Texas Christian University with a bachelor's degree in business administration. I'm a graduate of Winthrop University with a bachelor's degree in political science, and I have a master's degree from Winthrop School of Education in teaching. I'm a current and qualified high school social studies teacher in the state, and of course I've also served on the Citizens Water Advisory Committee, which successfully challenged Utilities, Inc., ending our pollution in the lake.
And that's time. Thank you very much, David. And Ryan.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Ryan Richard, a 10-year veteran of the United States Marine Corps, proud husband of a beautiful wife, father of the 2 greatest kids on earth. We were fortunate to find Tega K almost 6 years ago and absolutely adore this great community. Tony Blair, Prime Minister of England, once said, "The art of leadership is saying no, not saying yes." It's very easy to say yes. I, for one, believe we cannot agree on everything, but that doesn't seem to be the case. In 2015 alone, we had more than 100 motions to be voted on in our council meetings, whether it was to amend an ordinance or approve a budget. Having 5 seats filled between our council members and mayor, that's 500 individual opportunities to voice opinions, to create more conversation that potentially could benefit the citizens as well as the city. We had 3 nays, 3. I wish I could get my wife and children to agree with me that much. Those of you that know Cheryl, there's no chance of that happening. I will bring a no-nonsense, citizen-driven approach that isn't afraid to ask you the question, is there something we could do better?
All right, thank you very much. Again, that was the opening statements. Candidates, thank you so much. Hopefully you're not as nervous now. So if it helps, I'm also nervous, so you're not alone. All right, we will begin now with the question. The first question will come from Michael once he asks it. Lisa, we'll start with you. We'll go down the line, and Abigail, you'll be the last one to answer that question. All right, so the first question will come from Michael Harrison.
Okay. What experience do you have, including involvement with city volunteerism, finances, or government, that has provided you with experience or preparation to serve on council?
Thank you. The experience that I have is pretty much lifelong. I have volunteered throughout my life in different types of city council events, different types of campaigns. I've volunteered for presidential campaigns. I've volunteered in statewide campaigns. I run the gamuts. In regards to more practical experience as a member of the Board of Zoning Appeals now I am the chair of the Board of Zoning Appeals, I've learned a lot actually in that time that I've been chair and been on the board. I've learned a lot about applying even more so Robert's Rule of Order. I've learned a lot about actually looking at all the factors and the facts in a particular case and applying it more so than what I do in my legal profession. I've learned a lot about learning more so with the community in Tega K and learn about how things function. So my experience has actually taught me a lot, and I want to learn a lot more through this position. Thank you.
Ron?
Would you repeat that again?
What experience do you have, including involvement with city volunteerism, finances, or government, that has provided you with experience or preparation to serve on council?
Okay, probably be easier to say what I'm not involved in, but I've been involved since day one in Tega K. This place is awesome, but I'm a 15-year member of Tega K Lions Club. I've served on council 8 years plus. I've run for council, unsuccessful and successful since 1998. I've stayed involved from day one. I've been involved in the contracts of the city. I've worked as the trustee for Speedway Children's Charities nationally for over 13 years. And I've been in business in my profession, the automobile business, for over 42 years. I've worked to the budget. I work with a budget of multi-millions of dollars every day, as I have worked on the city's current budget. I'm very proud of it.
Thank you very much. Same question to Chris.
Okay. I have, again, I'd like to agree with Ron. What haven't I served on? But The first day we moved here 20 years ago, the day I got out of my car, we hooked up with our recreation committee. I started building goals for the kids for soccer, and from that day on, I haven't stopped. I volunteered over 8,000 hours of my free service as code enforcer for the city. I saved the city over $150,000. I volunteered a minimum of 20 hours a month as a reserve police officer for over 13 years for the city. I volunteered as the project manager to develop and construct Turner Field, which in turn I was also able to get a $350,000 plus amount of money to build that field. I've constructed the playgrounds that are here. I was on the safety committee as this third term if I win as city councilman. I've been involved with rebuilding the police department, the current police department.
And that's time, Chris. All right. Okay, David?
Well, I take public service as almost an obligation. I think if you're able to do some public service, you should. I've served on committees, on boards, on juries before. I've sat on court martials in the military. So you can call it all by different names. It's still a council. And in fact, people bring you ideas and you discuss it and you vote on it. I'm currently serving, as I said, as a member of the Tega Veterans Association. I was elected by a small group of people to do that, and then, as I said, I was recently nominated by our governor to serve on a board down there. So that experience, I guess, is what I bring. But I can tell you, the first time I ever jumped out of an airplane, I didn't have any experience. The first time I drove a car, I didn't have any experience. First time I got married, I didn't have any experience. I've done okay, so I think sometimes experience is something you learn, along the way, and it brings new ideas, and it makes it sometimes better if you don't have all this great experience.
All right, and then Ryan.
A+, Chris, to Dave. The caveat off of that, personally, my experience within the city of Tega has been focused in the Parks and Recs area, from coaching kids in football, basketball, baseball, whatever it may be, along with my wife, who was a soccer coach in the middle school as well as the high school. Our focus hadn't been necessarily specifically on the government side of Tega in the last 5.5 years. It's been more focused on our children and our youth and what categorizes the future of this great city.
All right, and Abigail.
Thank you. As I mentioned, I currently serve on the Board of Zoning Appeals. Before moving to Tega, I served for over 4 years on the Rock Hill Zoning Board of Appeals. And somebody made a comment about how many times that the Tega Board of Zoning Appeals meets. Fortunately, we don't have to meet very often. My experience from Rock Hill, we met every month until the wee hours of the morning. All of the information about ordinances and learning how to run and manage a city from an ordinance and zoning for business really tracks through regardless of where you are. So I bring that tremendous amount of experience along with my social touch. I have 2 years as school improvement leadership experience with the middle school. I socially am engaged in our croquet club here in Tega and the women's club. I've served on every PTO and PTA board you can imagine, booster clubs, etc. I'm very engaged in the community and take pride in knowing what folks are thinking and being able to bring that back to the city. Thank you.
All right. Question 1 in the books. All right, let's move now to question 2. This comes from Patty, and then Ron, you'll be the first to answer.
Thank you.
On a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 as the highest, rate the city government communication with residents from the standpoint of effectiveness and regularity. Please explain your rating.
I would rate it as a 9+. We reach out as a government every meeting we come to find more ways to reach out to our citizens. We use every piece of social media. We have our own personal people that we email with on a regular basis by request. But we have the amount of people we have involved, citizens. I want to say our Facebook page, we have over 1,800 members or visitors. We do everything constantly, and I've never been on a council yet that does not reach out to try to improve communication. So I feel like we give it a 9+.
All right, Chris?
I agree with Ron. I'm going to give it a 9+. I'd like to give it a 10, but obviously there is some room for improvement in anything. We have channel 115 where everything is televised, including our meetings. Facebook, we have 17,000 residents that we're reaching through posts. Twitter. We have e-sign at the entrance of City Hall. We have a newsletter that has 2,700 subscribers. We send it out weekly. We have a website that is updated daily. We have a notify me email or text. We have news flashes. We have city calendars updated weekly. We have a code red system, which is a new robocall that reaches thousands of residents. We have new releases to the media that we are constantly posting for our big events. I think if the residents want to refer to our website or any of our sources, just short of getting a Dixie cup and a string to each one of them individually, I think we're pretty much on the pulse.
All right, David.
Well, I would be the third one to answer. I would agree with everything they say. I'm on the email list. I'm on their Facebook. Not only can you like them on Facebook, but you can favor them. So every time you turn on Facebook, the TK City comes right up there at front. You know, I try to come to get the knowledge of what's going on. I come to a few city council meetings every year, but I also watch it on Comporium Channel 115. And then if I miss because I'm at a Monday night football game, I can watch it the next day or the day after, and you can even go back and watch it on the YouTube channel. I catch up a lot on that. So I would say if there's any room for improvement, it's putting out the agenda that you're going to talk about in the city council before it happens. And I would make that better by maybe bullet points and bold letters on what you're going to talk about, what changes you want to make, because sometimes we don't always get the information until, you know, we don't have enough time to react to it. I would like to see more openness on what we're going to talk about, and I'd like to see more interaction between the councilmen talk about things more often.
All right, Ryan?
I'd like to think effort without results is wasted time. Something I commonly used in the sales industry. It's great. The effort's there. I don't know if I'd give it a 9 or even an 8. They have a Facebook page. They have Twitter. You know, we have the newsletter. We have all these things that are there for us to use to our benefit. The population of TKK is teetering, what are we at now? 9,000 plus people? When you say we have 1,700 followers, what's that, less than 30%? We got 2,500 people signed up for the newsletter. That's great, we're up to 40%. We need to focus on improving how we could get these avenues of communication out to the people, because obviously people aren't interested. Either they don't care or they're just not interested. So we need to get the citizens of TKK remotivated to get involved with what's going on in the city, and that's why I'm here, guys.
All right. Abigail?
As far as a rating goes, I'm going to give it a 6. And I know that's bold, and it's because the city does put out there a lot for us, right? There are many different avenues. We've heard the lists. The information's out there. I have trouble leading a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. And in the meetings that I've held around town lately, one of the big issues that comes up is, yes, they realize all these avenues are available, but for some reason they're not taking advantage of them, and we're really not sure why. So I think giving it a 6 gives us all the room for improvement that I think we need. To get started with that, I think our communication needs to be more timely, relevant, and consumable. Do I have all the answers yet? No. But I've started working on that, and for the last 2 city council meetings, I've produced highlights from those meetings, and they're just Abigail's thoughts on the 5, 6 kind of things that bubble up to the top for me out of those meetings. I'm trying to use kitchen English so that folks understand exactly what's going on, and we don't have to do a lot of clicks and searching online to find that information. One piece of suggestion was to find out if we could find out in advance, and that's something I'm working on as well.
All right, thank you very much. All right, and Lisa, last question.
Thank you. Let me just break it down really quickly. If you can't make it to a city council meeting, you can always watch it on Comporium. And if you don't have Comporium, which I don't blame because it costs too much, and I would like to get rid of the monopoly, but I can't. So you can always contact TKK. You can go on the website, tkkSC.gov, and check out and see what's going on. If that doesn't work, you can go on their Facebook, their Instagram, or their Twitter and see what's going on at that point. If that doesn't work, guess what? You see what this little thing is? I have their number, the mayor's number. They have no problem answering a phone. They have no problem texting me. They actually give me the information I'm looking for. If that doesn't work, guess what? I can go to the next city council meeting and look what happens. They have those minutes. And what do they do before each meeting when they start? They approve the minutes. So you get a chance to see what actually occurred prior to that. So yeah, I think it should be at least a 9 because there's always room for improvement. But the thing is, at this point in time, this city is moving forward in order to communicate with the people as best as it can.
All right. All right. The next question, question 3, will come from Michael, and then Chris, you'll pick it up, and we'll go around the table. Michael.
Many residents are concerned about the current rate of residential growth. Do you support impact fees, and what are ways you believe residential growth can best be managed?
When we moved here, there was an impact fee that was put on our homes before we got our CO, or occupancy permit, and it went to the schools. It was $2,500. Hence, since then, that's gone away. We haven't had to use impact fees in the city. We have a pretty strong economic base right now. Since I've been the city councilman,
Freudian slip.
going for that, mayor pro tem. We've had a tremendous amount of growth in being able to finance things. We had over $2 million in general revenues right now. We have money in Catawba Park funds. The growth of the city, it's a necessity for commercial growth. It helps the size, to increase the size of the city. But the commercial growth enhances the city's amenities. We take the money and the tax base that they give us and the revenues from their sewer and their license and their permits, and we utilize that efficiently to make the city a better place for you.
All right, that's Tom. Thank you very much. All right, David.
Well, growth, big issue in 1 minute. Impact fees. I've been reading a lot about impact fees. Sometimes I feel that impact fees might hurt growth. Maybe businesses, we're trying to get business to come here, and that's just another cost of doing business. Maybe some businesses might get turned off on it. I understand what the need for impact fees are, and so I guess in a way, I'm for impact fees, but I don't want to make them so high that they turn off the business part. But the new development certainly has to pay their fair share for our infrastructure to be upgraded. So I guess that's almost a fence issue there, but I just have to hear more about it and see what really the impact is going to have on mostly the business development.
Ryan?
The funny thing is most experts believe the tax base should consist of 60% commercial and 40% residential. In the Fort Mill School District, because I couldn't find numbers on TK specifically, but in the Fort Mill School District, we have 24% assessed value made of commercial property, while we have 76% rooftops. Fort Mill passed the implementation of impact fees. For TK, it's an open door for us. Does that business want to pay $200,000 to open a commercial property in Fort Mill? Or do we have the opportunity as TK to attract more commercial businesses because we don't have that impact fee in place where we stand right now? Currently, it costs the owners of a Class A office building with 250K of space, 250,000 square feet, $280,000 to locate to Fort Mill. I think with the addition of Huber Grand Parkway and the areas that we could grow commercially, this is a great opportunity for TK to capitalize on commercial growth.
All right, that's time. Thank you very much. All right, Abigail?
Thank you. I do believe in impact fees. I know that there's a lot of research and information that goes around making those decisions. They don't come lightly. So I definitely support a lot of research and investigative work in making sure that we make the right decision for TK. I think our residential rooftops are at a growth point now that we can sustain pulling in those businesses that TK wants to see, knowing that we've got the economic development here to support that. Thank you.
All right, Lisa?
I'm sorry, Michael, before I begin, would you mind repeating the question? Maybe I'm misunderstanding.
Sure.
Thank you.
Many residents are concerned about the current rate of residential growth. Do you support impact fees, and what are ways that you believe residential growth can best be managed?
Thank you. The thing is, when I understand why a majority or a good portion of TKK residents are concerned about growth. And it's because you don't want to change the character of TKK. There is a reason why we all moved to TKK. We like the small town feel, we like the recreational feel, and we don't want to change that characteristic. However, at the same token, without growth, we are stagnant, we are stale, we are right there. We have to be balanced with what's going on in the city and what's going on around us. The thing is, I looked at this comprehensive plan that just came out in 2015. It came out December of last year for 2015. And it said that a good portion of TDK residents that were surveyed essentially says that there needs to be a balance in growth. And basically, yeah, they're okay with the residential growth with TDK as long as it helps us and doesn't change the characteristic or how TDK is. And it's the concept of it being a recreational community.
All right, and Ron, we'll finish this up for this round.
All right, thank you. First of all, let me say I'm not an advocate of any kind of fees. I don't want to add anything on, but we want to protect this great city, and this current council has worked hard to find a balance of whether we should look at impact fees or not. Certainly want to do what we need to do to protect the citizens that live here right now and not penalize them for new people coming in. So it's a constant study, balance. We've certainly watched Fort Mill and discussed it. So I'm not here to say they did the wrong thing or the right thing. But to say that they won't come, they will come because we have the most desired place to live and work in the country.
All right. Question 4 will come from Patty, and then David, you'll take this first question.
Where do you stand on the issue of golf carts being used by residents in the city? I get the tough questions. Would you change the city's current golf cart laws? If so, how should it be changed?
Well, the golf cart question for me. I'm a golf cart owner. I think it's part of the mystique of Tega, the part of what makes Tega unique is we get to ride around in our golf carts. I tell you, they're great to have. A lot of families use them as a second car. When the husband, or the breadwinner, I should say, goes to work, mom gets in, takes their kids to the pool, to the park. If you've ever had to park around here, parking is really bad. Really, the golf carts are a great mode of transportation out here. A friend of mine lives at the end of Windjammer, right before you get to the park on the 4th of July. We park in his driveway. And usually we can fit 4 cars in that driveway. With golf carts, we can fit 17 golf carts in there, and we're still not using the street. So I like the carts. The city really doesn't have that much they can do. It's more like a state-controlled thing. So I'm an advocate of golf carts. I think it's part of the TK experience, and I would recommend everybody get a golf cart. You'd love it.
All right, Ryan.
I definitely believe it's a draw to the city. You look at places like Sun City and different places across the state where they're driving around golf carts that look like Humvees and Cadillacs. You're starting to see a lot of that around TK as far as for souping carts up and doing things to make them look a little different and give them their own uniqueness. It is a state law, not anything that TK implemented. I believe personally that law was written when they were discussing carts with no lights straight off the golf course. If you go out and you want to spend the money on what they call an LSV, low-speed vehicle, you were getting tax credits 8 or 9, well, in 2008, 2009. That same LSV looks exactly like the golf cart I drive now. However, because I didn't spend $10,000 plus for it, it's not allowed on the streets after dark. I personally, we operate our cart as legally as possible, try to follow the rules as much as possible, but there's definitely room for improvement when it comes to creating more opportunity for the city to benefit from golf carts.
All right, Abigail?
I also love golf carts. I currently do not own one. That's been something on our list of things that we are very anxious to purchase. Our drive is crazy steep, so I'm a little worried about that. But I know there's been a kerfuffle about golf carts. I haven't been pinpointed exactly what it is. But I know that the laws are state laws that I think a lot of folks have been questioning. If there are any places and room for improvement, I'm all about listening to them. But as a community, I think they fit right in with the social aspect. And that really is every single one of you in this room. I guarantee that's part of why y'all moved to TK. We love the social and the being connected through the trails, and the golf carts just aid in that. So thank you.
All right, Lisa?
Well, I agree. I do support golf carts. And let me start by saying that the South Carolina Statute 56-3-115 provides all of the regulations regarding golf carts. It's not specifically just an ordinance here in TK. It is a South Carolina statute as provided before. One of the issues that was brought up earlier is in regards to daylight, where it specifically states that only operate a golf cart within 4 miles of the residence during daylight hours only, and that's for safety purposes. The issue that I have with that is the fact that given the fact we are a recreational community, many of us may want to go to neighbors' houses or other friends' houses that live on different blocks, and we take our golf carts. A lot of us may not want to walk that far, or some of us cannot walk that far, so they want to take their golf carts. Well, if you're over a friend's house and you're having, let's just say, water, and soda, and you decide to go home a little later, well, guess what? That's against the law. It really is. And the thing is, it's unfair for that to happen. So does something need to be changed? Absolutely. How it needs to be changed? Take off that part of the statute. So,
All right.
thank you.
Ron?
Well, if I'm not mistaken, myself and Chris are two of the first people in TK that had a golf cart. Unfortunately for me, economic-wise, I got rid of mine, but I'd like to have it back and plan to get another one. I'm very proud that we're an advocate in a golf cart-friendly city. We do have state regulations we have to abide by, and I'm very proud to say that I feel like our public safety, our police department, are very lenient in what we're allowed to do.
All right. Chris?
Okay. Well, I'd be crazy to disagree with golf carts right now. So,
Yes, you will.
golf carts, they are a tremendous asset to the people in the city. They add a lot of charm to the city. I think they make people feel that they're in touch with their environment a little better, and they are environmentally good too. They give you a lot of freedom. They're fun. They also, and I've seen the golf cart groups enable people to communicate better and get together and have functions and different events that I think is just tremendous. I hope everyone gets a golf cart and joins in with these groups. Although, yes, the state does govern the law. Council, anyone on council can get involved, and I will as well, and have been, to change that law. But I'd like to get a pickup truck and as a golf cart, and I'll drive that to work. That's how strong I feel about it.
All right. The next question will come from Michael, and then Ryan, you'll take the first one.
Do you agree with the direction of the city relative to the utility system that it purchased last year? Please explain your response.
I actually participated in the city council meeting along with DHEC a couple of years ago when we were fighting Utilities Inc. Sat up, gave a presentation, discussed Utilities Inc. carrying sewage across my backyard specifically. Was very excited when I heard Tega K was stepping in and purchasing the system to help keep our community safe. I'm really glad they did. As we go forward, there's some big distinctions between TCUD 1 and TCUD 2. Just an example, the sewer rate is 80% higher in TCUD 2 than it is for TCUD 1. I understand we have to pay that $7 million that it costs to buy it. However, I think the improvements need to be made. It's better for the city, and it's protecting us as well as our children.
Abigail?
Thank you. I live on the lake, and so this is a very important topic for me and my family personally. And I was very glad when the city paid the $5.8 million to purchase this water system. What I'd like to see is more communication about what the repairs and how the progress is moving to date. I also understand that fees might need to be a little higher in the short term. I hope to see those level out in the long term so that it's more equitable across both systems. Again, I think from a communication standpoint, I know they've started with some work. I've already seen some benefits. After the 1,000-year flood that we had, we didn't see the major sewage spills, et cetera, boil watery advisories that we usually see. So I know progress is being made. I'd just like to see a little more details around that progress and keep us excited and motivated in the purchase that we as a city made.
Lisa?
I absolutely agree with the direction that we have taken. Again, reading through the comprehensive plan, I see that it is going to be about $6.8 million approximately to basically repair what needs to be repaired. And it is what it is. I mean, the money needs to be placed and put in there, and things need to be changed. The wonderful thing is we have not had an SSO in the past storms that we have had in the past month or so. We haven't had the sanitary sewer overflow that we normally have. I have not had any alerts on my phone or, in any other way telling me that I need to boil my water yet again. So absolutely, I think that it's going to sting a little in regards to money, but it's a necessary evil that we have to take care of, and we need to be very proud of our council for making that decision to do what they did.
Ron?
I absolutely think we've gone in the right direction, and I thought we should go in this direction for 20 years. Mayor Hamilton started in its origin. We got in the water business in the mid-'90s. We got in the sewer business in the late 90s, and early 2000s. This was an absolute must. It only made common sense. The numbers worked. We recruited, our city manager recruited nothing but the best professionals to give us advice and tell us which way to go, and it is absolutely a positive, and it's a win-win situation.
Chris.
Again, I 100% agree with the purchase, obviously, because this was one of council's, which I was on the council, and hardest endeavors to accomplish to purchase this system. It was a disgrace what the Utilities Inc. has done to this city. We had multiple spills. We had residents that were suffering yard damage. Realtors will tell you that it was hard to sell a home here during that time. The rates were increasing, and we're going to increase even more beyond our control. Since purchasing it, we've eliminated the raw sewage spills into the lake. We have an opportunity to revitalize the system. And I think the residents will see that as this system is revitalized and it comes to a point where they can generate revenue, it'll come back to them. I know people talk about rate increases and the rates amongst the two systems, but it will come back to them in decrease in rates.
David?
Well, being last, everybody said something I wanted to say, but I worked with the Citizens Water Advisory Committee, affectionately known as the sewer rats. We put on our galoshes and got down in the muck and whatever we could do to expose Utilities Inc., what a rotten utility they were, and tried to shame them into hightailing it out of here, and we finally achieved that. So that was a very great feeling when that finally happened. So yes, I'm 100% grateful that the city was able to get that, and I think we would have been paying even higher water rates with Utilities Inc. So in effect, we're actually saving money. I surely believe we are saving money by owning that system ourselves.
All right. Patty will bring us this next question, and Abigail, we'll start back with you.
What should the city do to better collaborate in planning, especially for growth, with the school district, county, and other pertinent government entities?
That is a great question. That has been a huge topic, especially after the recent school bond that was passed. It really came to light in how much partnership and communication and effort that all of those different organizations and leadership areas need to collaborate through. I think that it's going to be critical for us to all attend each other's meetings and keep abreast of what's going on. And when that's not always feasible, I know there was a collaborative group that met recently with all of those different partnerships between the town, the city, the county, the school board, et cetera. It was an extremely well-received opportunity. There was a lot of collaboration between the different organizations in saying, oh, I didn't realize you were planning that. We can help with this. Let's streamline and get efficient and more effective on these different topics. So I'd like to definitely see more partnership and collaborative meetings where all the great minds get together more often, whether it's once a quarter, et cetera.
Lisa?
I think the city should work with the school systems, the neighboring school systems, and the neighboring cities, essentially, not just for purposes of collaboration, but to learn, and also to teach other cities certain things that we do, and they may have certain problems that we've had similar problems, and they want to know what we did, and vice versa. I see absolutely nothing wrong with doing business with other cities, with neighboring cities. For instance, we have a hotel nearby. Why not give TK residents a discount, for instance, because where do we have a place for our guests to go? Nowhere other than our home. And we know what happens after 3 days when we have guests there too long. So the thing is, why not give TKK residents a discount, for instance? We bring you business, you give us a particular discount. Why not have different training sessions, for instance, for those who are not necessarily literate, computer literate, why not have training classes in different communities once a month to teach people about Facebook and the internet and email and set them up with different types of social media accounts? Why not do things of that nature that is relevant and it helps the other communities as well as our own?
All right, Ron?
Thank you. As far as I'm concerned, we have the best relationship ever that's been with the Fort Mill School District, the City of TUK, the City of Fort Mill, and York County Council. We had a meeting with them, and first one that I can ever recall happening as a group at Nation Ford High School some 8 months ago. There's not been a lot of activity since then as far as meetings publicly, but as far as conversation amongst one another and communication by phone, email, and talking about going forward, I think that's to only to our positive efforts, and it only needs to continue forward, and we'll succeed.
Right. Chris?
I guess if we incorporated all the aspects of planning for the future, and obviously the school is a big part of that because we have residents that are here for more than 15 years, but a large part of our population, residents that have children or raising children in the city of TK, is very important to them that they have a place to bring, the kids can go to those schools. So we want to enable the civic leaders, the businesses, and the citizens to play a meaningful role in creating that community atmosphere. I think that these choices that we make as council to again talk to our neighboring cities and our chambers only enriches the lifestyle that we're going to have here for the future for the rest of the residents that are entering TK.
David?
Well, I agree. Communication is key. I'd like to maybe just to throw out an idea. As we used them in the military, we used officially liaisons. If the Navy, the Marines, and the Army couldn't always talk the same language, so we'd maybe here it's the same way. We appoint an official liaison to attend. It doesn't have to be a city council person or a city staff. It could be a civilian. It could be a concerned citizen, a volunteer that goes out and officially liaisons with York County Council or Fort Mill School District or Fort Mill City Council, and the same coming back this way, and they can give us a synopsis of what's happening and keep us abreast of what's going on. Maybe just a nice, concise document of some kind. I think that'd be a great way to do it.
And Ryan?
I believe it's 100% essential to keep elaborating and expanding on the relationships that our current council has established with the Fort Mill School District as well as York County and other entities. As I mentioned earlier, that's 60% commercial, 40% residential, which is the most solid tax base we could have. We need to work strongly with those other communities, those other city governments, to ensure that we're coming together as a group, as a larger community, looking to create the opportunity for all of us to be successful down the road. Thank you.
All right. This next question will come from Michael, and then Lisa, you'll take it.
What are your plans to help mitigate traffic and vehicle congestion in and around the city, especially with the explosive residential growth? Should I repeat that?
Please, thank you.
Okay. What are your plans to help mitigate traffic and
Vehicular?
vehicular congestion in and around the city, especially with the explosive residential growth?
Okay, thank you. That's a very loaded question, actually. Not just because you couldn't say vehicular, but essentially, as the city grows, lots of times with a lot of these roads, TKK doesn't necessarily have the final decision on how a lot of these roads are developed, essentially. This is also a state issue as well. So that's one of the issues. Now, the thing is, in regards to our development as TKK grows, when we actually put in plans in place to enforce different neighborhoods, how is that set up? The thing is, the only thing we can do to ensure that that our roadways are open and remain open is to basically look at the plans on how the development is going, essentially. Obviously, we know that when we have commercialization, there's going to be more traffic. The thing is, the comprehensive plan that was set out addressed all of those issues, which is available to everyone to read through. But essentially, we're just going to have to look at this and make a common sense effort to it.
All right. Ron?
Well, I wish it was all in our hands to make the decision, but it's not. And we wish we could plan the streets before the growth comes, but it doesn't happen that way. The federal government, state government, county government control everything around us. We do have influence by reaching out to our constituents and trying to make these things happen. I'm very proud to say after about 10 years and $8 million later, Hubert Graham Way has broken ground. Look forward to that. Also, the construction started on 160 Gold Hill intersection, and soon to start at the intersection of 77 and Gold Hill, and has started at Zora Road and 160, so God help us. But anyway, we to do everything we can to influence this happening faster.
Chris?
Okay. Our current council has worked diligently on trying to get these problems resolved. Again, we don't control the growth. Whether you're going to be annexed into the city or you're coming in through the county, these developments are going to happen. And like Ron said, we can't predict what we wish we knew back then. How do we predict what the road issue is going to be? Currently, just outside of the city, you'll see the Hubert Grant Parkway is being constructed, along with the expansion of the 160 Gold Hill intersection. Both of them will have a tremendous impact on relieving some of the traffic coming and going into the city, and also the ones that continue to North Carolina. RFATS is now working on the engineering for expanding the 77 Gold Hill intersection as well. All we can do is just hope that these come into place, and I think it will relieve a tremendous amount of traffic.
All right, thank you. David?
Golf carts. Actually, it's planning is really what you're talking about here is planning. Be aware that when you're putting in a new development, the private industry can react a lot faster than government can. So private industry can put in probably a development in a year to 18 months. Government putting in roads is probably going to take 7 years. So always have that in the back of your mind whenever council is approving any type of developments, that it's going to be a while before the traffic. What can we do about it? Well, in the peninsula, we're one way in and one way out, so we're at the mercy of everybody else out there to kind of help us out. But like they said, just good communications and try to head everything off at the pass before it happens.
All right, Ryan?
I like the golf carts idea as well, but Dave took my fire there. Pennies for Progress is finally coming to fruition after years and years of waiting. We're seeing some work getting done up at the corner of Gold Hill and 160, Zoll Road, Hubert Grant Parkway. Is great to see that going into place. All these things coming together at the same time is going to make whoever gets elected next week look like they just saved the world. But all that was already planned before, but it's finally coming to fruition now, and I'm excited to see the fall off in traffic and just being able to move around a little easier, a little freer without sitting, trying to make a left turn after picking my beautiful Emily up from high school.
All right, and Abigail?
All right, so we all know all the pain points that we're looking to relieve now, right? All the 160 and Gold Hill and the interstates, the interchanges that are coming, which are very impressive, and I, for one, cannot wait for that to get started. But what I would plan to do is we have a 10-year comprehensive plan that we just started. If it takes 5 to 8 years to get budgetary approval from when you think you need a road widened or you think you need a new interchange, to get that approved in 8 years, we need to start planning for that now, so that in 10 years when we have a medical and professional area center, we've got Center City that's being planned out in our comprehensive plan, we've got activities and entertainment center all over near Walmart area. Dam Road's awful. I jiggle my teeth out every time I drive down that road, but we need to start planning immediately now so that in that 5 to 8 years when we want to have that growth and expansion from a commercial side, that we've got the infrastructure to support that.
All right, that does it for that round of questioning. Next round of questioning will come from Patty, and then Ron, you'll pick it up.
In a few words, define what economic development means to you, and then explain what you believe to be the city's role in economic development.
Thank you, Patty. First of all, to get an individual to come invest in our city, it's millions of dollars into a restaurant, a theater, anything that we'd want in our entertainment district over there. You got to have rooftops to support it. So this council's worked hard to make that a balance, and we've got the rooftops coming in, and now we've got the people coming to the table wanting to look at our properties in their commercial areas. We have in the comprehensive plan, it's very specific. That was one of the key things we worked on, was economic development and the growth in the commercial corridor.
Chris?
Economic development and the comprehensive plan go hand in hand with each other. As we said before, we've got a lot of residents here, been here for 15 years or more. We've got new residents that represent a large portion of our population. We've got to continue to offer that small town feeling, and we also be able to create and expand our commercial base that enables us to collect those tax revenues from the water and the sewer, business license fees, to build and expand on our amenities. I would like to see, there is some land that is available to TGK for future development. I would love to see an epicenter go in. I'd love to see that the people that live in the city don't have to leave the city to eat or any form of entertainment. And I'd love to see them drive their golf cart to that epicenter. And that's what we're working on, have been working on, I want to continue to work on to make the city of TGK the best place to live.
All right, David?
Well, we need economic development. It helps ease the tax burden on the residents. It just brings more prosperity to the area. We get to spend our own money in our own city. We pay the business people. They, in turn, make a profit, pay taxes. It comes right back to us, and it's just a revolving door. So business is great. I like the idea that we can do everything right here in our city. We don't have to leave. I can go on my golf cart, like Chris said. It really is. That's part of the TK experience. So really just make zoning favorable for economic development and encourage good quality business development in our area.
All right, Ryan?
The good life, that's why we're all here. I think we're going in a positive direction from a development perspective. Again, as I mentioned earlier, we need to focus on commercial development. As Chris mentioned or Ron mentioned, we need the rooftops to support it, which I think those wheels are in motion, as we could all see. It's just a matter of continuing to develop those relationships with the builders, with those that will come in here and build commercially as we grow to help support our tax base and continue to contribute to our families as well as our schools.
Abigail?
I think economic development is a fine balance between residential and commercial. You have a very delicate balance between the city of TGK on the verge, which we are now, of exploding from a commercial standpoint. And I, for one, want to see the spirit of TGK kept true in the fact that we are a small town, rated #1 in all kinds of different things, from safety to the nicest place to raise our family, et cetera. That fine balance comes with hearing our community and knowing that maybe we don't need a movie theater, but we need a nice small playhouse. Different coffee shops, bookstores, farmers markets, things like that. So I look forward, like I said, to being on the brink and listening to the community and making sure that there's a good partnership between city leadership and understanding kind of economically where a city in general needs to move and blending that nicely with where our city wants to see us go.
And Lisa?
The way that I define economic development is the incremental growth of a city or municipality to increase its financial base. So the question then is, what does TGK need to do to increase its financial base? And the challenge is while still maintaining the small town feel of TGK. And that is what we need to do. We need to look at certain commercialized industries and say, listen, what does the community want? What do the people want in TGK? What will make things accessible for people in TGK? And that's what we need to open the doors up to. We also need to consider the difficulties in some of these industries getting permits. Permits are a problem for some industries and some business owners. So we need to question, why are some permits very difficult to get? Why are there so many hoops to get around? Especially if those industries will actually benefit the community as opposed to help the community.
All right. All right. This next group of questioning will come from Michael, and then Chris, you'll pick it up.
Okay. A large population of deer exist in and around the city, and there seems to be differing opinions among residents as to whether or not the deer are welcome. Some residents like having the deer present in the city and enjoy feeding them, while others are against having them roam freely and feel they destroy their landscapes. What is your opinion, and how do you suggest addressing the issue?
I will not shoot Bambi, I'll tell you that. And, you know, this has been an issue that current council has been working on for quite some time. And we've had studies done by DNR, and they keep coming back. I mean, there's a solution. There is solutions. One, there's 50% of the people are feeding the deer, and 50% of them are fencing in their shrubs and whatnot, and telling us, you know, hey, stop eating my stuff. And then we also have a safety issue. Our police cars are hitting deer. People driving up and down Tega, they drive at night, they're hitting the deer. It really is a liability. So, okay, I get it. The deer are cool to look at, or you don't like them at all. You bring a sharpshooter in to shoot them, or you can bring a bunch of apples and feed them. But really the issue is, what kind of liability they're creating for the city. And that is something that we're going to have to work on a little harder as soon as we get the statistics back.
All right, David?
Well, the deer eat at our salad bar often. We have a garden in the back, and Linda had a great idea of putting paprika all over it, and now it's turned into a Mexican restaurant back there. But I'm going to keep an open mind on this. I understand there is another DNR survey coming in. They're going to look at everything, and they're the pros. They can tell us, if we really do have a infestation of deer, or if we have a nice balance that the ecology of the peninsula will support. So I guess I'll keep an open mind and see what recommendations they have. But I can't see open season on the golf course for deer, and I know some people have a lot of money invested in their shrubbery, so we'll just have to wait and see what DNR says.
All right, Ryan?
There's a lot of bow hunters watching tonight that are staring at the TV waiting to see what we all say about that. But we need to let the pros do what they do. To my understanding, they were supposed to come here July or August, DNR was, to do the survey. I think it's been postponed. But it's a matter of sitting and waiting to see what they have to say and what recommendations they give us before we decide on which direction that we need to go in. Because, again, it's a 50-50 split on what everyone thinks. There's plenty of rednecks in TK that would love to just pick them off in their backyard. And there's, again, we love feeding the ones with spots from our hands. So we don't want Bambi running around here, but we definitely need to let the pros do their work and get the information to us to let us know what we should do in turn. Thanks.
All right, Abigail?
So I will start by saying I definitely do not support hunting in TKK. That has been thrown out there by folks as a serious option to getting rid of our deer, and I think that's unbelievable. So do not support that. I'm excited, honestly, that this is a topic. I think it's really cool that we've got deer in TKK. My children love them and adore them, and I saw a lot of the children in the room shaking their heads like, yeah, they're really cute and awesome. I also understand that they can be a menace to society when it comes to safety, when it comes to trampling through your backyard, eating your grass. They eat our grass all the time. We have very little grass, so we can't afford to have it eaten by the deer. But I'm excited this is something that TKK gets to face, right? Just from a fact that we're blessed to be in a community that is so full of nature, et cetera. So along with that, I'm a questions gal, and I can't wait to see what the DNR comes back with. I didn't realize there was a such thing as a deer survey, honestly, until last month in City Council. So I'm excited to see what they come back with, excited to see what kind of questions and things they look at, and then to see what kind of recommendations that they make for us for the deer population.
All right. Lisa?
Thank you. That's an interesting question because in the question you asked, are the deer welcome? And we have to remember before 1970, when this was just 1,600 acres of wooded area, this was their home. And the thing is, when you're in communities like this, which is similar to the community I grew up in Ohio, I lived in a community where we had a lot of deer. And the thing is, the one issue that needs to be done is, I don't foresee anyone shooting a deer in TK, but one of the solutions might be, can they be relocated? That is a possibility. What can they do to be relocated? Because it is a safety issue, not just for us, but for the deer. It's unfortunate I saw an accident where someone hit a deer and the deer was not dead. What do you do in that situation other than call the police? So yeah, it is a painful situation, and both for drivers, and it's a health situation, and as well as it's a hurtful situation also for the deer. So it's very unfortunate.
All right, Ron?
Well, yes, I'm not an advocate of hunting anywhere in TUK, and especially Bambi. I happen to like the deer a lot. I wish they'd bring my 80-something azaleas back. We in TUK are not the only ones with this issue. It's in our region. And this council, particularly Jen Stafford, has worked extremely hard with DNR trying to find a solution or the best way to go. Best I can tell you right now, they could not give us a solution or an answer, and they're going to do another study and go a little deeper. We asked about moving them somewhere else. We were told, no, that's not allowed. We were told, you know, we can have sharpshooters, and we said, no, we don't want that. We might see Walt walking by early in the morning. Anyways, I love the deer. I just don't have an answer to give you other than what DNR brings back to us after this next study.
All right. This next group of questioning will come from Patty, and then David, you'll pick it up.
Should the city actively pursue extending city limits footprint to expand the tax base? And are the additional municipal services worth the additional property taxes to residents?
Well, I'm of the opinion that we've probably grown enough for a while. We've really, doubled our footprint in the last couple of years. So let's give it a break for a while and let the rest of the infrastructure catch up, especially our roads, so we maybe alleviate some of the problem with driving. And again, encourage a bit, and when we do finally get around to it, encourage business. I was briefed recently about our tax base and how much tax we take in versus how much we have to spend. And when for each dollar, I think it said, that we get in revenue from a business, we have to pay out like 37 cents approximately, give or take a few pennies, in services. And when we do a rooftop, we do a residence, for every dollar we get in, we have to pay about almost $1.80. So it actually cost us to do that. So let's really have some smart, intelligent growth and look really more for businesses rather than rooftops.
All right, Ryan?
I'd look for smarter, slower residential growth, encouraging high-quality commercial development from that perspective in the areas that it would be designated, the areas that we could all enjoy it, somewhere between here and the Lake Ridge side, possibly near Huber Graham Parkway. You know, the areas that are laid out in the comprehensive plan. I think if we need to limit it to a certain aspect. We can't grow too fast because we're going to continue to see the traffic issues that we have. And I think we're just about where we need to be, day by day, month by month. The city's doing a good job with rooftops, but we definitely need to focus on that commercial development in the areas that they're designated.
All right. Abigail?
I think our city has done an outstanding job in recent years of pulling our budget under control. If our budget were crazy out of control, then we needed to expand our limits, to increase our tax base, et cetera, to help with that, then that's something that we might need to look at. I think our budget's at a place now where I'd like to see our residential growth slow down a bit, and as we look to annex areas and expand, it needs to be for needs that fall in line with the community. So whether it's seeing a main street around the Huber Graham Parkway, potentially with small businesses, or something like we had to look at when we annexed the area for Catawba Park, those type of things. I just want to make sure that when we do it, we're doing it for the right reasons for the city.
All right. Lisa?
Well, from where I see it, the city has already actively pursued, expanded its city limits. And I'm not saying that it should stop, but I'm saying that it should develop what it has at this point and still grow at a moderate pace. Essentially, if you're going to have residential growth, have that balance of commercial growth as well at a moderate pace. We don't need, we're not in competition with some of the major cities nearby. We're not. We shouldn't be in competition with any city because we are Tega, and there is no competitor to us. So the thing is, given that we don't need to push any further growth at this point until we have pretty much done what we need to do at this point, and then we move to the next step. And in regards to budget, we're in the black right now. We're doing pretty well so far. So I don't think that that should be an issue at this point. As we move forward, absolutely. But at this time, no.
All right, Ron?
Well, I'm known as an annexation person, and annexation in the right perspective. But I feel like we've reached out to the boundaries that we can reach. At this point, there are other opportunities that will come to pass. Somebody's going to get outside the box. A developer's going to make a deal on a piece of property. They're going to come to the table. They're going to go to the county. They're going to go to Fort Mill. They're going to come to Tega. Call it competition or not, I call it protection of the citizens that elected me. If I'm going to deal with the traffic, if I'm going to deal with what the impact it puts on my community, then I want to have some say-so of how it's done. And that's where I stand.
All right, and Chris?
I think our residential base has been pretty much established, and I think you can see what points in the development we're at in Lake Ridge areas and on the outskirts of TGK. But commercial growth is a necessity for this city. Obviously, we've discussed how important it is. It does. It takes for every tax dollar that comes in for residents, $1.82 for the city to service those residents. But for every $1 commercial that comes in, tax dollars, it costs the city only 39 cents. No, it's 39 cents to serve a commercial tax dollar. So we need to expand our commercial growth. It also enables us to stay in the city, like we talked before, for entertainment, and also creates a better lifestyle for us here. Staying in the city limits to enjoy this lifestyle is where commercial growth has to go.
Thank you very much, Chris. Well, you guys survived the question part of this program, so congratulations for that. We'll start going now into closing statements. Remember, 1 minute each, and then Ryan, we'll start with you.
Okay, thank you. The median household income of our community is almost $116,000. That's the highest in the state. That speaks volumes of the level of intelligence and drive of the citizens of TGK. It's my focus to ensure this is parlayed into a smarter TGK. As you see on my signs, our TGK. We have the opportunity to ensure you, I, and everyone watching is informed and contributing to our success. Some would like to suggest it's your fault for not being informed. I tend to disagree. Improvements can be made on both sides. From my days in the Marine Corps, when we were in less desirable areas of the world, a common phrase was, "It's not that I hate where I am, it's that I love where I'm from." I am from TGK. I don't want to look back and wonder, where did we go wrong? We've got to grow smart and be proactive in preserving what makes this place great so our children could enjoy it as much as we have. Thank you.
Abigail?
I care deeply about our residents. I care very deeply about our community, and I care very deeply about our future. We need a strong community advocate on City Council to ensure ongoing effective communication between our elected representatives and city leadership and the community at broad. I have the energy, the background, and the will to do what I can to serve and support you as City Council. I am always available, so please grab one of my cards, and I've got my contact information here at the bottom of it. Please check out my Facebook page. I have a lot of my information and thoughts on various topics on there, and I hope tonight I've earned your confidence.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure being here tonight. We talked about a lot of issues and concerns that affect our community. And although many of us have different opinions on this panel on how to address these issues, we all have the same goal. What is in TGK's best interests? I would love to say that at least one of us up here has all the answers, but none of us do. The only thing that any of us can do is make the best educated decisions for our cities and for our city, and making decisions that affect more than 8,000 people. It ain't easy. But I will strip away the legalese and political jargon and take a bare bones, common sense approach to effective decision making, and I will act on it. As I said in my opening when we first met tonight, my name is Lisa Marie Johnson, and I am running for TGK City Council. Thank you.
Ron?
Thank you. There's been a lot of discussion in the campaign about change. Time for a change. People are saying, ask yourselves, what are you wanting change from? A council that successfully purchased an aging water system that had numerous legal challenges. Challenges that had to be weighed methodically so our actions wouldn't come back to haunt us, versus change from a council that has continued to measure and policies that has our city in its best financial situation ever. As for the future, our growth and annexation is very, very limited at this point. It's no longer how much we grow in terms of quantity, but what quality and diversity we grow. In terms of commercial development, I'd like to see more entertainment, specialty retail, and upscale dining. In terms of recreation, again, I'd like to see more diverse options, young and old. There's opportunity to offer recreational options such as shuffleboard, paddle sports, what have you. We're only limited to our imagination. Overall, I think our main focus needs to be revitalizing and improving what we already have. In order to progress, we need a council that has healthy debates and yet still create positive progression.
Chris?
Vote for me.
Well, I think you've heard a lot of information up here from a lot of different people, and I think that it's important to me that after 20 years that I've lived here in the city and raised a family with my wife, Kate, that we continue under the course that creates a nice atmosphere for people to raise future families here. We've talked about commercial growth. That is important. Expanding our city in that area is important. Rooftops are congestive, but it is important to contribute to the commercial growth. I've committed many years to this city, and I have a lot more left in my tank. I've got both my boys are out of college, so I've got plenty of time. I've proved myself in many ways. I've volunteered on every different level that this city has to offer, and I want to continue to make this city a better place, the #1 place for the people in Tega. Welcome home.
All right. And David.
Well, first, Lucas, I want to thank you for taking the time out. I want to thank the York County Chamber for holding this forum. Our moderators, Mike and Patty, thank you for taking the time out of your busy day. And I want to thank my fellow candidates for taking the time out and doing this. I know it's a difficult decision to run and to kind of put yourself up to public scrutiny, but I understand your passion and why you want to do this. I want to publicly acknowledge what a wonderful local newspaper we have, the Fort Mill Times, and appreciate their vote of confidence with their endorsement, which you'll probably be getting on your doorstep tomorrow. I hope my fellow neighbors of Tega will support my candidacy, and I ask for your vote for next week. And lastly, I want to thank my wife for putting up with me, because every time I come up with another great idea, like running for council, she says, "I thought you wanted to be retired. What do you keep doing this for?" So thanks for letting me do this. You know, maybe it might not last long, but she'll put up with me for now. But everybody, thanks for coming.
Thank you so much. Well, candidates, thank you again very much. Like David said, I know it's not easy to run, but thank you so much for being so passionate about your community that you want to have a voice on City Council. Folks in the audience, thank you again so much for coming up. If you have more questions, I know these folks will stay here. Go to their Facebook page, Twitter. I'm sure you can connect with them. Also, something else I learned tonight, if you are a golf cart salesman tonight, boy, you are going to rack up for sales, that's for sure. But I also want to thank the City of Tega for allowing us the space tonight, the Tega Council, the York County Regional Chamber of Commerce for putting this on, especially Allison Cleveland, as well as Michael from Fort Mill Times, as well as Patty from WRHI. Thank you again so much. Don't forget, we're voting 1 week from today, Tuesday, November the 3rd. Get out and vote. Thank you so much.